Next up, we got some comedy talk. So I'm into stand-up comedy. Like I've told you guys in the past, I tell you guys about different specials that I see that I feel are worth speaking about. I don't speak about all of them, but I saw recently, probably a few weeks ago already, Bert Kreischer's Secret Time, which is now streaming on Netflix, and it was super funny. Kreischer's a comedy store comic. He's from like Rogan's camp, like a group of comics that gained, they were popular within their own rights, but gained a lot of popularity from being part of like that group of funny stand-up comics. And he really blew up after telling the machine story, which I'm sure I've like referenced in the past and have linked to in other episode notes or something like that, or definitely have tweeted it. Follow me on Twitter at Spun Today, by the way. And he has a new special called Secret Time, and it's streaming on Netflix. He has this really funny bit with, like, parts of it were a little not cringeworthy, but he was like talking shit about his kids, like, "Yo, my daughter's dumb, this and that, blah 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 blah," which is funny in a satirical way, but then at the same time, I'm kind of like, damn, imagine his kid like seeing it. It's probably like, damn, dad, you think I'm dumb? But I know they're comics, this is like the way they think. And I'm probably just getting like softer after like having a kid or getting like more sensitive to that type of thing. But don't get me wrong, it was still like funny as shit. And he has this really, really funny bit, spoiler alert, and I'm not going to say the bit, so I'm not going to completely spoil it, but like he ties in one of his daughters like doing dumb shit, like putting deodorant in the fridge because it says it's to keep it fresh or something like that. And he goes into this whole like long thing about that, and then he ties that in with time travel, and it like tied it in like so perfectly, like so well, that it made like the whole shitting on his daughter thing on one of his daughters, or both of his daughters actually did, but this specific bit was about one of his daughters. It like made the whole bit worth it, so it was pretty funny. Check it out. It's called Bert Kreischer's Secret Time. Next up is Joe Rogan's latest comedy special, also streaming on Netflix, called Strange Times. I liked better Rogan's previous special to this, which was called Triggered. That's my favorite Rogan special of all, and this one was really good. It was funny. I did like Triggered more than this one. It's probably because I listen to so much Rogan, like from his podcast and stuff like that. I know like a bunch of his premises or his point of view on a lot of things that comes out in his comedy. So it kind of sort of takes it down for me a notch. But it's still enjoyable. Still worth watching, in my opinion. I still watch them all. He did have this really funny bit about Thomas Jefferson and like bringing him. Like if we built a time machine and brought Thomas Jefferson back to now, one of the first things he would say is, "Wait a second, you guys didn't write any new shit?" Like in terms of the Constitution and stuff like that. So it was pretty funny. Anyway, check it out. It's called Strange Times by Joe Rogan, and it is now streaming on Netflix. Next up is Adam Sandler's latest comedy special, which is called 100% Fresh, also streaming on Netflix. Netflix is like the go-to spot, if you haven't noticed, for like comedy specials. They have, some argue too many, some say, actually I haven't heard anybody say like the right amount, but some people think that now it's like everybody and anybody gets a special on Netflix, and it's like, people like comedy specials. I don't mind it, to be honest. I don't think it like dilutes it. Like, so the argument is that so many people have a comedy special now that they're not all good, like they're not all like special, quote unquote, anymore. But it's like something for everybody, kind of. It's not like every TV show on the air is not good. Every movie that comes out is not good. Doesn't mean every single comedy special has to be fucking amazing. And different comics appeal to different people with different tastes. And I digress. Anyway, Adam Sandler is not necessarily my favorite style of funny, although I enjoy his type of funny, like that silly comedy type of thing, whether it be in his movies or like most of his stand-up was. But I do enjoy enough of it to watch it. You know what I mean? Like enough parts of it to watch it. You know, he does. It's not like a traditional comedy special. First off, he like cuts together a bunch of different shows, similar to how Chris Rock did with Bigger and Blacker. I think it was Bigger and Blacker, like that special, where he did, you know, the same show in different locations and just like cut together like the best parts of each and put them together for the recording. He did that, which is cool. But he does a lot of like singing songs and, you know, playing the guitar and stuff like that within, you know, riddled throughout. And one of the most hilarious songs are "My Uber Driver Smells Bad," which I'm probably going to drop in the episode notes. In the outro of this episode, I'll probably drop the song. It's only like a minute long, a minute and a half long or something like that. But it's hilarious. It's like a rap song about an Uber driver that smells bad. Anyway, the most memorable and part of it for me was a dedication that he did at the end for Chris Farley, which was really funny and really touching. And he shows a lot of like iconic SNL clips and Tommy Boy clips of Chris Farley, like on a big screen, like behind him while he's playing the guitar. And he fucking plays the guitar really well, by the way. I mean, coming from somebody that doesn't know shit about playing guitar, except for taking, I think, like 4 guitar lessons ever and never being able to retain anything of it. I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between something that Adam Sandler played on the guitar and something that Tom Morello played on the guitar. I'm joking. Slightly joking. I'm exaggerating for the effect, exaggerating to make the point, but it's not far from the truth. Like, I don't have like that musical ear where I can tell like what's good or what's not. I'm just saying, to me, it sounded good. Check it out. It's called 100% Fresh, and it's Adam Sandler's latest special, and it's now streaming on Netflix. And last point on comedy stuff, there is a string of 30-second comedy specials coming out on the 30th, which is in 2 days from now. I'm recording this episode on October 28th, 2018. This string of comedy specials comes out on October 30th, 2018, and this podcast drops on November 1st, 2018. So at the time that you guys are listening to this, if you listen to it when it drops, the comedy specials will be live and streaming now on Netflix as of last night. Anyways, it's a bunch of comics that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different comics, 4 of which I know from podcasts and either seeing live or listening to their podcasts or listening to them on Rogan or listening to them on their own podcasts. And I'm really excited for a lot of them. It's half-hour specials. It's not full-hour specials, but still dope and still going to be on Netflix. One of them is Joey motherfucking Coco Diaz, which I've seen live, and I listened to his podcast, The Church of What's Happening Now, and he's one of my favorite guests when he's on JRE. Big J Okerson, which is one of Ari's boys. He has his own podcast, if I'm not mistaken, or he's on a couple. I think he's part of like Punch Drunk Sports and Skankfest, or Skankfest podcast, or is that like, I don't know. Anyway, I think he has another podcast also, but I don't listen to that. I've heard him on Rogan. I've heard him on Ari's podcast, The Skeptic Tank, a bunch of times, and stuff like that. And I mean, I've seen his stand-up before. He's funny, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Christina Pajitsky. I've seen her stand-up before. She is the co-host with her husband, Tom Segura, which is a hilarious comic and also one of my favorite Rogan podcast guests. They have a podcast called Your Mom's House, and I've seen her stand up before. She's hilarious. Really cool to see her have a half hour. Even though her last special was an hour, so it's kind of like, some people are like a half hour is kind of like less, time wise. Obviously, it's less than an hour, but they see it as like a step down from doing an hour special. But I don't know. Is it? is it not? It's kind of like a new, different thing that Netflix is coming out with. They did like 15-minute ones also, which I don't think did that good. But half hour, it's a dope amount of time, I think. Brad Williams, which I listened to in the About Last Night podcast. And I've seen clips of his comedy before. I haven't seen like a full special or anything like that. He's a funny dude. I'm looking forward to that as well. And the other two I have not heard of. I think one of them, Lisa Traeger. I've heard the name before, but I don't know anything about her. And also, same goes for Yamanika Saunders. But if they're part of this ensemble, quote-unquote, cast of the Degenerates special, which is what it's going to be called, and they are in good company. They must be worth their salt if they're being lumped together with those other hilarious folks. And I'm looking forward to these Degenerate comics and watching that special. Check it out. It's going to be called The Degenerates, and will be streaming live now on Netflix.